Well, shifting our focus to Ukraine now, where the battlefield is still raging. On Tuesday, Russia launched a fresh wave of attacks, while Ukraine reported 60 clashes along the front lines. That's in Donetsk, Zaporizhia and Kharkiv. Moscow claimed victories, with its troops capturing another settlement called Yasenov. But even as fresh attacks take place, behind the scenes, something else was at play. A secret deal that only a few knew about. Well, allow me to explain in a few moments from now. On Tuesday, Russia freed an American teacher, Marc Fogel, from detention. Fogel is a teacher who was arrested on charges of bringing medical marijuana into Russia in August 2021. He was released by the Kremlin on Tuesday and brought to the White House. Once he arrived back in the United States of America, an American flag was draped around his neck. As he emerged from a black car, U.S. President Donald Trump waiting to greet him. Fogel was clearly very emotional as he told Trump just how grateful he was to him for securing his release.
The luckiest man on earth right now. And I want you to know that I am not a hero in this at all. And President Trump is a hero. These men that came from the diplomatic service are heroes.
The release of Fogel, who had been detained in Russia since August 2021, came as Trump seeks to improve ties with Russia. Fogel, who had been serving a 14-year imprisonment for drug smuggling, was overlooked in previous prisoner swaps. And now, after more than 3 years in a Russian prison, he has been freed. According to reports, this is an effort led by Trump. Trump has said that Fogel's release could be a big, important part of ending the Ukraine war. He thinks Fogel's release will show goodwill on Russia's part in terms of the war in Ukraine. Well, White House National Security Advisor Mike Waltz said, and I'm quoting him here, President Trump, Steve Witkoff and the president's advisors negotiated an exchange that serves as a show of good faith from the Russians and a sign that we are moving in the right direction to end the brutal and terrible war in Ukraine, unquote. In fact, Trump and Fogel both thanked Russian President Vladimir Putin for his release. Trump also said another person would be released on Wednesday without identifying who it would be. But the question right now is all this just about the Ukraine war? Was it really goodwill? Or is there something more? You see, the Moscow arrival of Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff's private jet was spotted earlier on Tuesday on flight radar apps. But the White House declined to comment for hours. Russia had also insisted that it was a technical flight of a sanitary nature. But as soon as the plane left Russia with Fogel on board, the White House confirmed his release. Here's why all this matters. White House envoy Witkoff's trip to Moscow and the release of the detained American, they are a major breakthrough in U.S.-Russia ties. They have been almost completely frozen for the past few years. The last visit by a senior U.S. official in Moscow was in 2021. That's when then CIA Director Bill Burns met Russian President Vladimir Putin and warned him not to send troops to Ukraine. Additionally, this also comes as Trump is working on launching diplomatic talks to end the war between Russia and Ukraine. Here's why this whole episode is intriguing. On Tuesday, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said that he had no knowledge of claims suggesting Witkoff's visit to Moscow. Peskov had told reporters that no meetings with him were planned. A day later, that is today, Kremlin has said that a Russian citizen was freed from a U.S. prison in exchange for Moscow's release of Marc Fogel. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said that the Russian citizen will return home in the coming days, at which point Moscow will then release their name. Commenting on Trump's remark that this could perhaps help end the war, Peskov said it was unlikely to be a turning point, but described the releases as gradual steps to increase mutual trust. currently at a low point between Washington, D.C. and Moscow. And then there's the bigger question. What did U.S. offer in return? Asked what the United States gave up in exchange for Fogel, Trump told reporters earlier, not much. He called the release a show of good faith from the Russians. Could that be it? What did Washington offer in return for Fogel's release? Well, no one will say. What's the real deal? What did Witkoff discuss with the Kremlin officials? Trump administration claims this prisoner release is a step towards peace. But the timing raises more questions than answers. Has Trump opened a new back channel with Moscow, especially with the Munich Security Conference just days away, where Trump's team is expected to discuss their strategy for ending the Ukraine war? Fogel's release may just be the beginning of a much larger diplomatic game. But who holds the winning hand? Is it Washington or Moscow? That only time will tell. Silent but steadfast, trees hold history within their rings. While empires rise and fall, these ancient guardians record every drought, every flood and shift in climate. Our next story explains how researchers have unlocked their secrets using tree rings to reveal how climate shaped the fate of China's great dynasties. Take a look.
Trees can live for centuries, enduring shifting climates. They are silent observers, swaying in the wind, and for poets, even dancing in the rain. Like nature's own historians, trees maintain a logbook of the passing of time. Each year of growth produces a new ring. Light bands marking spring's vigorous growth. Dark bands recording autumn's slowdown. These concentric circles create a remarkable climate diary, each ring width telling tales of abundant rain or devastating drought. By studying nearly 3,500 years of tree rings from the Tibetan plateau, scientists have traced climate's influence on Chinese history. Three distinct periods of dramatic climate shift align perfectly with the collapse of China's most powerful imperial dynasties, suggesting that nature itself played kingmaker in the empire's fate. The first climatic upheaval between 110 BC and 280 AD coincided with the Han dynasty's dramatic downfall, when shifting weather patterns triggered devastating famines that culled China's population from 60 to 30 million. The second phase, from 330 to 770 AD, witnessed the Tuyuhun dynasty's demise and the meteoric rise and fall of the Sui dynasty, all choreographed by nature's rainfall rhythms. Most dramatically, the third phase in 950 to 1300 AD maps perfectly into the Song dynasty's gradual decline and ultimate conquest by Mongol forces. Last year was the hottest on record both globally and in China, with extreme weather events wreaking havoc worldwide and, according to estimates, natural disasters causing more than $320 billion in economic losses. As global temperatures rise, history offers a stark lesson. Climate shifts have toppled dynasties before. Could today's nations face the same fate? Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Well, looks like there's no end in sight in the Musk versus Altman dispute. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman has hit out on the X owner by calling him an unhappy person. During an interview, Altman said that it's likely that Musk has lived his entire life in a state of insecurity, unquote, further adding that he sympathizes with Musk. Altman was later quoted saying that he does not think Musk is a happy person at all. Take a listen.
Can you react to Elon Musk's offer?
You have nothing noticed about it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. How so?
The company is not for sale.
Sorry?
The company is not for sale. It's like another one of his, tactics to try to mess with us, but
What about the amount he offered?
I have not paid it. I mean, it doesn't matter.
The Musk versus Altman dispute got reignited after a group led by Musk offered to buy Altman's OpenAI for $97 billion. And this led to Altman making a counter-offer, which is $9.74 billion to buy Musk's social media platform X. Meanwhile, OpenAI claims that the company's board is yet to receive any formal buyout offer from Elon Musk, refuting the claims of Musk's lawyer, who had said that the offer had been sent to OpenAI's outside counsel. Our next story is about Saudi Arabia. It has implemented a new regulation requiring Pakistani travelers to get a polio vaccine, and that's before entering the country for Umrah. This rule also extends to those visiting the country on tourist or business visas. Passengers must obtain a certificate from either a government or private hospital to confirm their vaccination status. Well, according to the new rule, travelers must receive either an inactivated polio vaccine within the last 12 months or an oral polio vaccine within the last 6 months, ensuring that the vaccination occurs at least 4 weeks prior to their arrival in Saudi Arabia. Pilgrims will need to be vaccinated against polio, yellow fever, SARS-CoV-2 or COVID-19 and also seasonal influenza. That's under Saudi Arabia's updated health protocols. While meningitis vaccine has been made compulsory for all international visitors, polio vaccination will be required for individuals from Pakistan, Nigeria, Afghanistan and other polio-affected countries. According to Pakistani media reports, over 100 Umrah pilgrims, including women and children, were removed from their flight at Lahore airport on the 10th of this month for failing to provide polio and COVID-19 vaccination certificates. The passengers were reportedly taken off a Saudi airline flight just before it was set to depart, leading to demonstrations at the airport. Passengers said that they were instructed to buy new tickets despite having saved up money with great difficulty for their Umrah trip. The pilgrims argued that the travel agent and the airline were at fault for not informing them about the new rule in Saudi. According to reports, Pakistan's Punjab Assembly Speaker Malik Ahmed Khan also reached the airport, where the Umrah pilgrims surrounded him to voice their complaints. They demanded that the speaker should take action immediately and arrange their departure. Millions of Pakistanis travel to Saudi Arabia each year for pilgrimage. As for what prompted Saudi Arabia to implement this new rule, well, according to reports, it is a part of Saudi's efforts to safeguard public health and ensure the safety of millions of worshippers. According to a notification issued by the Saudi Civil Aviation Authority, all required vaccinations and precautions are now mandatory for Umrah pilgrims.